ATM 7 to the Sky, a new mod pack for Minecraft 1.18 released on the 12th of August 2022. In the over 200 hours it took me to complete ATM 7 to the Sky, I experienced a whole range of mods and challenges all in our quest to craft the ATM Star. Multiple ATM Stars. These are just a few of my thoughts I have after completing the pack. I went into this pack looking for a fun 1.18 modded Minecraft experience and approached the pack with the goal of making the ATM Star. However, the way you choose to play could differ quite a bit from mine, as this is not an expert pack and doesn't gate any of the items or progression beyond the default mod progression routes. You truly can play however you wish, that's the beauty of Minecraft after all. So starting off, you'll spawn on a tiny island in the void with only a tree and a small area of farmland. You can start off collecting pebbles from the grass, and with those you can craft various Minecraft stone blocks, for example stone and granite. After obtaining some string from infesting leaves, you can make the sieve. Since you're in the void, the main resource generation method is sifting various materials through different tiers of meshes. This can yield all kinds of things from saplings and seeds to metals and diamonds. It's a classic way to start a skyblock mod pack. There is also a custom mod specifically designed for this pack to ease the automation of the sieving process. X Machinist was written for the pack and features the flux hammer, the flux sieve and the compactor. These machines can help you cut down on item entity lag as the outputs are contained within the machines, unlike the classic X Nilio counterparts. There's also craftable upgrades for these at various tiers, which can take the machine up to a processing speed of 64 items per second. If you've seen my series, you know I chose not to use these in the beginning, as I found the high RF cost to be something that could be avoided. Instead, I chose to use Integrated Dynamics player simulators to automate the X Nilio versions instead. This is just one example of how there are many different routes and options you have to achieve your goals in ATM 7. In fact, I've also seen some players just completely avoid using the sieves in the early game, and instead rush towards the Twilight Forest to mine for ores underground. There is quite a lot of flexibility in the progression routes you want to take. In my opinion, I think the X Machinist additions were a great benefit to the player. However, I wish they were not sided machines and you were able to configure them to input and output to whichever side you wish. Other than that though, great addition. After you get yourself some basic resources, there's a lot of options on ways you want to go. There is a quest book loosely guiding you through the pack, but at least for me, one of the biggest areas for improvement is the quests. I think it needs significant development to make it more useful to the player while also giving them an insight into the possibilities with the included mods. A lot of the quests feel redundant and don't really offer much information or purpose other than asking you to craft a machine or item. There are also mods which are never mentioned in the book and yet are required to craft the ATM Star. After I got my sieve set up for basic resource generation, I decided to get some RF production up and running in the form of the magmatic dynamos. I used these to power the sieves and then progressed on to making a bigger reactor, which you can fuel using uranium obtained by sieving sand. After outgrowing the bigger reactor, I made a reactor from the power mod, which has various tiers and can output a maximum of 500,000 RF per tick. The fuel for this you can mostly also get from sieving. Late game there are multiple options for huge RF production. I chose to go with the mechanism fission reactor paired with the boiler and turbine. Mechanism nuclear is a required process for the star and we'll cover that a little later as it's a big topic. As for power, there's also solar, mechanism fusion, mycelial reactors and many other options. On the ATM Star recipe, the thing which is guiding my playthrough, you have 14 unique items which you must craft and assemble using Create Crafters. I loved that the Star was a combination of many different mods and processes, and it was fun to try and collect all the materials for it. However, I think some of the recipes could be improved to better utilise and integrate the mods together for a more cohesive experience. Although I believe they've already started the process of updating this in the most recent patches, so it's likely a lot of this has been improved by the time you watch this. The ATM team keeps their packs regularly updated, so I believe a lot of the things can and will be addressed over time. The star itself is used in the recipes for the creative items in game, including things like the creative flux efficiency, the creative motor, and the creative mana pool. But I think there is a missed opportunity again with the quest book to add extra challenges, as the chapter in the book only asks for 4 creative items, whereas there's a total of 14 different creative items which are craftable in survival. I think there also could be more variety in the creatives available, such as making the creative vending upgrade craftable or the creative fluid tank, although perhaps those would be more expensive in some way than just 1 star. I realise that I might be approaching this in a different way than the pack was intended, or most people intend to play the pack, since I'm used to playing expert progression style mod packs, where the experience is tailored towards achieving endgame creative items, whereas here it might be more useful to think about just playing some good old modded Minecraft and experimenting with the different mods available, which I think this pack will allow you to do well. One experience I have of playing this was trying to play through the Productive Bees mod. This is a vanilla style mod which adds a lot of bees and allows you to automate many resources using the combs these little buzzy friends can generate. Episode 12 of my series ended up being one of my favourites to make. I had a lot of fun building out the apiaries. The bee breeding was a lot of fun to try and get the higher tiers. I definitely would recommend checking out the Productive Bees mod. Honestly, there's too many mods in here. All the mods? Too many mods in here to mention them all. Some of the favourites though were Applied Energistics 2 updated to 1.18. Honestly, probably one of my favourite mods of all time. I used it extensively throughout this playthrough, although it is viable I guess to beat the pack without it. Refined storage was removed from the Skyblock version of ATM7, so as for storage options you either have Applied Energistics, Occultism storage, Integrated Dynamics, or perhaps Botania. Another one of my favourite mods in the newer versions of Minecraft is Create. It's always fun to mess with this mod and I used it for many different setups around the base. Hostile Neural Networks is also present here and allows you to simulate mob farms and generate loot, but there's also tools to allow you to spawn and farm mobs traditionally. I used both methods throughout the pack. In terms of the magic side of things, there's Ars Nouveau and Blood Magic, although BM isn't required for the Star, and apparently Botania is now a magic mod. Who knew? Botania is great though, and you also have the add-on mod to Botania, Mythic Botany. I also have to give a mention to Laser.io, developed by Direwolf20. Easily the star of the pack for me. It was my first time I've ever used it and is my new favourite 1.18 mod. I love it. As for the tech side of things, we have Thermal Series, Industrial Foregoing and Mechanism, all of which are really solid mods and have lots of functionality and uses. I used Mechanism for things like ore processing, which technically I should mention aren't actually required. I used Industrial Foregoing to get things like ether gas and iridium, and Thermal Series for things like the phytogenic insulators. To get back to the Mechanism reactor setup though, as I mentioned it is required to make a fission reactor setup. The fission reactor consumes fissile fuel to give you nuclear waste, and the waste must be processed into polonium in a solar neutron activator, and then run through a supercritical phase shifter for antimatter. It's as cool as it sounds, I know. This process is probably the most complex part of the pack, and there is risk of nuclear spillage and explosion, but the increased risk makes it more fun, and I recommend if you're unfamiliar with Mechanism Nuclear, you can check out episodes 15, 16 and 17 in my series. Something else worth mentioning in this pack is the inclusion of the Project E mod. This of course can allow you to convert between items using their EMC values. Not many items have EMC value, it's mostly the vanilla materials. As you're probably aware in my playthrough, I challenged myself to avoid using EMC completely, which does mean a lot of the ridiculous setups you might see in the series can be circumvented by using an EMC based system. I chose to take on this extra challenge just to make the game more interesting, as it forced me to use different means of production, rather than just using the energy condenser and duplicating things with EMC. Although EMC is definitely the way to go if you're looking for the most efficient approach to progression. If you've played some of the more recent ATM packs, I believe starting in 1.15, then you'll probably be familiar with Allnemodium and Unobtainium, as well as some of the other custom ores and tools. These are also featured in ATM7 to the Sky, and they are required in huge quantities for the Star. As for options to obtain these kinds of quantities, really the only option you have is Mystical Agriculture, another mod included here. There are many different things you can farm with Mystical Agriculture, and you can get things like mob loot in blocks. It's a very versatile farming mod, but I chose for the most part to avoid using it as much as I could, instead opting for alternate means of resource generation, again just to make things more interesting for myself. Mystical Agriculture is really powerful as a mod, but I would recommend they make Unobtainium seeds either drop more or lessen the requirement for the stars. Perhaps also consider adding Unobtainium into the Industrial Foregoing laser drill. It's not just because I avoided using EMC that it took so long to get the Unobtainium. There really isn't any other alternative other than using Mystical Agriculture to get the kind of quantity that you need. So the pack as a whole, it was a really fun collection of mods for 1.18, and I think it's a very enjoyable experience if you're looking for a kitchen sink pack. You're going to have a lot of things you can play with here, and I would say it's a good place to also learn mods as well. There's a lot of forgiving mechanics here. However, the pack in my opinion is not without its flaws and definitely has some room for improvement, especially when it comes to the quest book, the ATM Star recipe and the creative item implementations. Ex-Machinist, the mod developed for the pack though, is a huge plus and will help you out a lot throughout the game. I really enjoyed playing through this pack and checking out the new and updated mods for 1.18. It's the first time I've played modded in this Minecraft version. Mostly I like the direction the mods are taking. I do miss Ender.io though, for sure. Anybody else agree? We need Ender.io back. And Thaumcraft. I never thought I would say that, but I do actually miss Thaumcraft. But that also concludes my thoughts about this pack. I'd love to hear what your experiences playing this are. Did you enjoy ATM7 Sky? The mods I've explained here are by no means a complete and comprehensive list of everything included. This is all the mods of course, but it's based on the way I chose to play. There is quite a lot of different challenges here, just be creative and have fun with it. The devs have been very kind and featured my series on the CurseForge page, which I'm sure is how many of you actually found this channel. So for that, I want to thank them for doing so. I don't know the devs personally and they have had no influence on my opinions in this video. I'm just expressing my honest thoughts about the pack, and I'm doing so independently. If you would like to continue the discussion further, consider joining my Discord channel. There is a growing modded Minecraft community on there. They're very knowledgeable and willing to help you out. I'll always make time as well if you find that you have some questions. But I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch through the series, and I hope that you've enjoyed the journey. But there's no way we're gonna leave this series without blowing up the base, right? I mean, we have to. A proper send-off. I put all this work into building this thing, which, you know, I'm really happy with overall. As I mentioned in the finale video, there's some things I would like to change, but that's really always the case when you're building modded bases. I also really like all the verticality we managed to build into the base, and you can technically walk everywhere if you wanted to. I think anyway. I don't think there's anywhere inaccessible. We even built in the lift here, which should still work, I think. I hope it works. Yep, gotta have the elevator call in there. I'm thinking we just remove all the safety measures here. Like get rid of all the coolant, get rid of the heat detection, and who needs the pipes to export the waste? And so now all we need to do is like set this to 1,000 burn rate right off the bat. Oh my goodness, look at it. 20,000 degrees, 30,000 degrees, 40,000 degrees. Oh, things are not looking good here. The boilers are actually keeping up here. All right. Oh no, no, the heat is still rising. 170,000 degrees Celsius. Oh no, look at the damage. Oh, we might be dead. We're so dead. Oh, there's no surviving this. We're dead again. You know what, we'll just creative it. Yeah, so that wasn't quite as big of an explosion as I would have thought. Things just kind of burst open. Ah, and that was kind of disappointing, to be honest. Although I guess everything is dead, right? Our cow didn't survive? Yeah, no way. You know what though? Let's end this with a bang. This is gonna make a crater and a half. Here we go. Deleted. Deleted. Oh, that is awesome. Look at that. Could have probably been bigger. Like, our base is pretty large. Not enough to cover it all. Oh, the nether portal survived. Look at that. And of course the bedrock, the original bedrock, but the portal's still here. And the Twilight Forest portal. I bet our bees are all dead though. They're probably dead with the radiation, right? Anyways, we'll finish this on the bedrock we started on. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next series, whatever that may be. There may be a few days, I'm going to take some time off between series, but yeah, I'm really excited for the future. But yeah, take care everyone, and I'll see you all in the next series.